Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Andrew of Creative Community Solutions. And as you're aware in the press and media end, we get the opportunity to cover some wonderful story ideas and some people doing some great things across the board. So whether it's in arts and entertainment, college and professional sports, the nonprofit space, the dining space, but of course it's 2026. That means it's an election year. So we have been talking with a number of people running for office on different levels. This is where you definitely want to be. To make sure to watch the entire interview, you may go to Creative Community Solutions LLC on YouTube. You can also add Creative Community Solutions LLC on Facebook, Ace Norton CCS on Instagram and Twitter. We will have this available on LinkedIn as well as Medium. And don't forget to visit our website of acenortonccs.com. You click on the menu for articles and coverage, and you will find it there. So as we said before, it's 2026. It's an election year, local, state, national, but we get a chance to talk with one of the folks running for local office. As we've heard the term, politics is local. Things really impact you most immediately on the local level. So we're fortunate to have Mr. Damon Mason joining us. So how are you doing this evening?
Wow. Well, thank you for inviting me to this amazing discussion and conversation. I am busy, 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 running full steam ahead all the way until the primary election on Tuesday, May the 19th.
Well, I tell you what, I'm glad you get a chance to catch your breath. People don't realize, when you're running for office, it's not only being suited and booted, but you got to, like the elders say, pick them up and lay them down. So we see you in your, we'll say, your campaign athletic attire, but that's all right. So before we dive in a little bit about your campaign, your platform, your record as a public official, walk through with us where you're originally from and where you're currently based.
Well, I'm originally from Tulsa, Oklahoma, born and raised. I've been there my whole life. And I am currently located in Newton County, Georgia, which is about 35 minutes outside of the city of Atlanta.
Okay, great. So, of course, we welcome you to the great metropolitan Atlanta area. Walk through with us a little bit about any of your professional background that you'd like to share, as well as anything tied in with your community and civic engagement. And this is not even counting you being a public official.
Sure. Well, I earned my Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration from Oklahoma City University. I currently have an honorary doctorate in humanitarianism, and I'm also currently pursuing my master's degree in divinity. In addition to that, I currently sit as the vice chair of the Community Economic and Workforce Development Steering Committee for the National Association of Counties. I also am the chair of the Revenue and Finance Committee for the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia. And those are just a few of the leadership roles that I hold and obtain on a state level as well as a national level, and also a part of a few different civic groups, a couple of organizations that I'm a part of as well. And so I do a whole lot in the work that I do.
Well, I tell you what, when they say versatile, well-rounded, that's what it pretty much sounds on the professional end, the academic end, as well as your civic and community engagement. Now, speaking of, when it comes to public office, walk through with us what was the catalyst or motivation for you to say, hey, this should be the next space and place that I should be?
Well, once I bought my home in Newton County, Georgia, I told my real estate broker, I really want to be actively involved. I don't want to just be a homeowner. I want to be engaged in the community. And the first thing he said was, well, you need to start going to the local political party meetings. So I said, okay, I can do that. So bought my home in October 2014, started going to those local political committee meetings on December 2014, started really getting to know individuals within the community, understanding the issues that were occurring, and what was that political party doing to help address those concerns. Well, as time went by, from 2014 to 2018, was working on, one of the committees there, helping with an election that year. And as I was helping with the election that year, I get a phone call saying, "Hey, did you hear that our former commissioner is retiring?" And I said, "No." "Well, he is, and we want you to be our county commissioner." I said, "Who? Me? I don't know anything about politics." And the person on the other end said, "It doesn't matter. You have a heart for the people. They will teach you how to be a county commissioner." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yes, they train you." I said, "Okay." So got in the race. Of course, I talked to my wife about it. My wife was like, "Honey, if this is something you want to do, I support you." And then I prayed about it as well. And I clearly heard God say, "I'm now going to take you to the next level of ministry where you will be able to influence those individuals that you wouldn't have been able to as an average citizen." And I said, "Wait a minute, hold on, God. So you mean to tell me going into government, going into politics is ministry?" He said, "Absolutely." I said, "Well, will you go with me?" He said, "Didn't I tell you I'll never leave you nor forsake you?" I was like, "Yes." He said, "Exactly." And so at that moment, I said yes to this assignment. I moved forward. I had three other opponents that ran against me. I had to go into a runoff because the votes were split. And I worked really, really hard, came out successful in that runoff. I didn't have a general opponent that year. And so here I am, 8 years later, running for reelection again.
Wow. So it sounds like, we hear divine intervention, but that's part of it. And people don't realize, even in as a government official, it's still what public service, it's still outreach.
Yes, correct.
You might be doing it in a different way, shape, or form, but ultimately it's trying to put people in as sound a position as possible, access to resources, access to opportunities, things along those lines. Now, speaking of, and I know we don't have enough hours in a day to talk about everything you've done in 8 years, but what
Right.
would you say would be, I'll say, if there's an underlying theme that is present in any of the accomplishments that you have made, what would that be?
I would say an underlying theme is people first. I have truly every single thing that I've done and accomplished while being in office, it's because the residents that I serve, it's what they've asked me to do. And so all the things that I've accomplished, all the things that I am advancing is due to them. For example, I had the very first splash pad built in our community at the second largest park, which is in my district. I had the very first skate park built at that same park. I started a cleanup project. When I would see sometimes the roadways weren't as clean, I took the initiative as a leader to start that project. I do for the past 6 years, a District 2 movies in the park at this same park called Denny Dobbs Park, where we celebrate Cinco de Mayo in May, Juneteenth in June, and back to school in July. I also started an unsheltered or homeless job and housing initiative where we're helping those that are unsheltered get training that they need from our local technical college. Once they graduate, they're get a job making $16 to $28 an hour, and then working with our housing authority to help them find the housing that is affordable for them and get them reacclimated back in the community. I sit on the Viewpoint Health Board, now helping those that are unsheltered with their mental health, with their substance abuse matters, so that once they get through this program, they don't relapse and go back to those foundational things that really got them to that unsheltered status. And, there's so many more things that I have done, but those are a few of the major key projects that I've accomplished, and it's all about people first.
And I'm glad you shared that because people have slogans and then you do your research and it's like, okay, the slogan and the track record are not fitting. And I know if you could, even with your campaign material, if you could put that up on screen, look at here. You may have to get more of a poster board size card versus just a regular. I know you try to put it on an 8.5 by 11, but
I am.
it might be like one of those old school Encyclopedia Brown type deals. So,
Oh, wow.
so here you are. You have, you know, 8 years, just those instances alone, looking at youth engagement, looking at people re-entering the workforce, housing, providing access to resources regarding health, really physical and mental health when you really think about it. What would you say if you were given the opportunity to serve again? What is one area of need or concern that you are seeing when you engage with your constituents? It's like, you know what? I want to move forward and address this issue or address this concern or address this need. What's one thing that you're seeing that, if given the opportunity, you definitely want to really dive in on?
I would say one of the things is focusing on training our youth for tomorrow, keeping them actively involved, making sure that we have programs that they can take advantage of, make sure that they have mentorship opportunities that they can take advantage of, make sure that they have recreational activities that can keep them involved versus resulting in unproductive activity. And so, really helping to shape our youth for tomorrow is one thing that I hear often. And so, what I am currently working on right now, with that in mind, is to build a recreational facility with an indoor swimming pool that will have a large enough gym where they can have AAU tournaments, to have a fitness center, to have all type of programs like summer programs for our young people that's reasonably priced, that they can go to all day, not half a day, and their parents can still go to work, come home, pick them up, still engage in basketball activities or basketball leagues, football leagues, karate. I say all this because I was a rec kid growing up back in Tulsa, Oklahoma. A lot of the things that I learned and engaged in was through our local recreational centers. That's where I learned how to play karate. That's where I learned how to swim. That's why I played flag football. Those are the places where I learned a lot of the things that I learned as a young person. And so I want to be able to provide that same opportunity for those youth here in Newton County to be able to have that. Now we do have a facility. It's kind of in the center of our county. I'm on the more urban suburban side, which is the western side of our county. Also have the highest population and the smallest geographically wise, or land mass. So I have a higher density. So I really want to make sure that it's something like that in this immediate area where they can have immediate access to.
And I'm glad you shared that because it's not only just, quote, an area of concern in Newton County, it's an area of concern metro wide and across the country, looking at what are things that can be done to constructively engage youth. And you pointed out, well, you pointed out you're a product of that. A lot of us
That's right.
that when you think about the physical aspect with, let's say, sports or martial arts, the mental aspect where it's the teaching and learning and strategizing, the other holistic elements, working independently, working collectively, working with people from different walks of life. A lot of these skills that we know translate to success, let's say in the public sector, like where you are, the corporate setting, people who are in business and entrepreneurship. So giving these foundational supplements for that next generation. So now let me ask you this, because like I said, it's clear you've got some moving parts between on Tuesday. With early voting ending today on Friday, and there's another opportunity, which will be this coming Tuesday. And I know you've done a little bit of, let's say public forums and public appearances. Are there any public engagement opportunities coming up between now and Tuesday where if people wanted to talk with or throw a question or things along those lines that they're able to do so?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, on tomorrow, I have actually been asked to be a keynote speaker at an honorary doctorate ceremony. I'll be there. And it's going to be here in Newton County. So if there's anyone that is attending that event, I'm always open to them pulling me to the side afterwards or before, having those conversations where they can meet me, connect with me. That's one opportunity. Also, tomorrow evening, one of our after school programs, which is Washington Street, uh, they actually have, and they are an after school program. They have one of their annual jazz events. So it's going to be in Porterdale, which is one of our municipalities or cities within Newton County. And so I'm going to be there as well. So there'll be an opportunity to meet me, have conversations with me. We're going to be having a great time, but I'm sure there will be some individuals from District 2, from Newton County that could potentially vote for me on Tuesday to have additional conversation with me as well. And then, of course, every single Sunday, I'm at a different church in District 2. So I will be at a District 2 church on Sunday. We haven't decided which one it's going to be yet. We've basically been to almost all of them, but we will be at a District 2 church on Sunday. There's another opportunity to meet me, have a conversation with me, get one of my cards that shows all of my qualifications, leadership roles. It has all of the things that we've accomplished and are advancing. It also gives uh, voting information as well, contact information for me. So there's a few more opportunities this weekend to be able to grab me, have a conversation with me, talk with me more before they make the big decision on Tuesday.
Okay, so we appreciate you sharing those, some of those face-to-face opportunities. So people haven't been able to take advantage, previously. There are, engagement pieces. If people wanted to find out more about your campaign, about your qualifications, your platform, things along those lines, do you have a website or any other means where people can go ahead and look up and find out more?
Absolutely, I do. They can always go to Demond Mason, the number four, commissioner.com. That's Demond Mason four, and that's the number four, commissioner.com. My website has everything, a lot more details that you may want to find out or know about me, projects, those who have endorsed me on a state level, on a congressional level. You'll see a lot of the activities that we have done over these past 7, now 8 years. You'll see all that information there. In addition to that, I'm on pretty much all of your social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on all of those platforms. There's also a local platform. I don't know if most people utilize it or not, but it's real big in our community. It's called the Nextdoor app, where you can connect with people locally within your area and they can see all the things that's going on locally. So I'm on there a lot. As a matter of fact, knocking on some doors. Some people said, "Oh, yes, I remember you. I saw you on the Nextdoor app." And I said, "Well, it's working. That platform is working." And so you can find me on a lot of different public platforms.
Well, it sounds like, public servant, man of the people, all those different things come to mind. So, as we get ready to wind down, we've been able to cover a little bit about where you're from, where you're based out of, some of your professional moving parts, your other community moving parts, your move into public office, the 8 years you've already served, some of your accomplishments, things you would hope to accomplish if given another opportunity, and of course ways for people to engage and connect. Having said all that and having shared all that, if there's a, I don't know, life lesson, words of wisdom, words of encouragement, words of insight, and I'm sure you've got plenty given all your expertise, what would be one thing that you'd like to take out of your bag or pull out of your hat and be able to have other people utilize and use that accordingly?
That's a very interesting question. Now, you said this is like to motivate them or to encourage them or
Just something to leave with them. Sometimes in education, they would call it the ticket out the door. But again, if people don't remember anything else about what we've talked about, if there's one thing, be it a life lesson, be it words of motivation, words of encouragement, words of, like our elders would sometimes say, go sit down somewhere and get your mind and spirit right. What would be one thing of the many things you could share? What's one thing you'd like to share with people?
I would say one motivational thing is never give up, never give in, keep going because success is on the way. And that's one of the things that keeps driving me, keeps pushing me, because this area of work is a very challenging area of work. People looking from the outside in, they don't really know all of the dynamics. They don't know all the behind the scene things that it takes to be a great leader or to be successful in this area of work. And sometimes it can be so challenging that you may want to throw in the towel. You may want to give up. You may want to quit. You may want to say, you know what? This is just too tough. It's not for me. Of course, that lesson can be applicable to a lot of different areas. But because I am actually in the political arena, in the government arena, it's very, very tough. We see what's happening on a federal level. We see what's happening on a state level. And a lot of times, those things that we see on the federal level and the state level is passed down to us on a local level. You mentioned earlier a lot of things that happen on a local level. It changed the trajectory of our livelihood a lot more quickly or faster than state or national. And so, but we still have to make sure that whatever decisions are made on a national level, whatever decisions are made on a state level are not impacting our decisions that we're making on a local level. And so I would just encourage any and everybody to say, don't give up, don't give in, keep going. Success is on the way.
I tell you what, that's something I think people can definitely let marinate for a little bit and saturate and sink in and all of those types of things. Mr. Mason, I tell you what, first off, in the midst of the hustle and bustle, we appreciate you being able to be still for a few minutes.
Yes.
Share with us again who you are, what you're doing, and what you would hope to do moving forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time even speaking or listening with our guests, please don't let it be your last, especially those of you in Newton County. So for those of you in Newton County that have not had an opportunity to vote, hopefully the information that you heard tonight gives you some things to think about going into Tuesday. As an aside, regardless, please double check your voter registration status and double check where you're supposed to go. Just double check. That's all we're going to say. Double check. So that way you're able to take advantage of the voting process. As we said from the outset, you can make sure to catch this on acenortonccs.com. Click on the menu for articles and coverage or the subdirectory government and politics, and you'll find it there. Creative Community Solutions LLC on Facebook and YouTube. Ace Norton CCS on Instagram and Twitter. You'll also see this on LinkedIn as well as Medium. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, all of you take very good care. You have a good evening, a good weekend. And again, remember, there are still engagement opportunities for you coming up this Tuesday. So we thank each and every one of you.
Vote DeMond Mason in Newton County, Georgia, District 2.